Hey there, welcome to Jeremy Davis Books. I'm Jeremy Davis. I am starting a little series that I'm gonna call Under 5, and it's where I'm just gonna give my thoughts on a book in under 5 minutes. So, since I only have 5, I am not gonna waste any more time, and we're gonna talk about this, In the Lake of the Woods by Tim O'Brien. It's the most recent book I finished. And I've read a few other things by Tim O'Brien. I've read Tomcat and Love, and I've read the story collection, The Things They Carried, which is really, really great. This is great too. I've seen a couple of interviews with Tim O'Brien. I know that he's a very meticulous and deliberate writer. And by that I mean he sweats all of the words. He sweats the thes, the ands, the buts, the theirs, everything. He goes over and over and over his writing to make sure it's exactly what he wants it to be. So there's a lot of craft that goes into his books, and this is no different. In regards to what it's about, I don't want to say too much because part of the enjoyment of the book is how things are revealed and how you figure things out as a reader. So I don't want to take that away. But what I will say is it's about a politician in the mid-'80s who has lost a primary election, and he and his wife go to this cabin on a lake to sort of get away from the fallout from all of that. It's not written linearly, so it doesn't start in a spot and then just go straight through. It's written with a modular structure. So it jumps around in time. It jumps back to when he was a kid. It jumps back to when he was a soldier in Vietnam. And because of that, because it's written that way, it makes it a little bit of a challenge to read, or a challenge to understand as a reader. So there will be a chapter set when he was a soldier, and you're reading about it. You're reading about when he was in Vietnam, and the last line of it will be something like, and then he went to bed. And then the next chapter starts with him waking up, and there's nothing to orient you anywhere. So you think you're still in Vietnam, and you think that for like the next paragraph or so until you start to realize, no, he's at the lake. It's the 1980s. And at first, I was sort of put off by that. You feel really confused and disoriented, and you think you're still in Vietnam, and it just feels very strange. But then because I know how he writes, I know he meant for that to happen. And I realized that feeling of disorientation, a feeling that you're still in Vietnam, is how the character feels. He thinks he's still in Vietnam. And it gave me, someone who's never been to war, who has never really had any sort of real physical trauma, it made me start to understand and feel a little bit of what PTSD might be like. It gave me the clearest feeling of it, I think, that I will ever get. So that's genius. Once I started to realize that, I fell in love with this thing. I think this is an extremely amazing book. I heartily recommend it. There is a lot more to this book. It's about pretending to other people, to strangers, to our friends and family and the people we care about. It's about the masks that we build to pretend, and how those masks can chip and crack, and what we do when that starts to happen. It's a very, very good book, and I heartily recommend it. Although I do have to say, Tim O'Brien is a Vietnam vet. He has been to war, he knows what war is, and when he writes about it, he writes about what it is. So when this book gets violent, it's tough to read. There isn't a lot of that, but what there is plenty. So those are my thoughts on In the Lake of the Woods by Tim O'Brien. Read it, it's great, and I'll see you back for the next video. Thank you so much.